Cool. Welcome to session one of Horizon Marmoris, a Mage the Awakening Chronicle. Stream has
Hello.
started, so I'll begin with a short intro, and then we can sort of go character by character and set the scene. So the year is 1714, and the waters of the Caribbean bristle with mass. Most of the ships in these waters fly the colors of the various colonial European powers, jockeying for control over the New World's resources and plunder. Merchant vessels carrying cargo, and merchant ships protecting the islands to which their monarchs have laid claim, legitimate or otherwise. Some ships, however, fly the black flag. As long as there have been sea traders, there have been sea thieves, but their numbers teem in the current age of sail. The War of the Spanish Succession has just ended in 1713, the year prior, and the resultant cessation of privateering contracts has created a glut of able bodied and unemployed seafarers looking to the New World to make their fortunes by others less sanctioned means. And this is where our story begins on August 1st, 1714, in the port of St. John's on the British controlled island of Antigua. Today, across the Atlantic in distant London, King George I is ascending to the throne and being crowned at Westminster Abbey. This is far, far across the ocean from Antigua, but nonetheless, the governor is throwing a celebration. Enter your characters, whether you've been on Antigua for quite some time, are stepping off the boat today, or find yourselves here by other means. We'll just go down the line. There's a sort of big celebration happening in the small-ish central square of St. John's, a little bit away from the port. There's entertainment, music is being played. The governor is in attendance with both his wife and rumored mistress, and the people are taking advantage of the government's hospitality. So Dalian, or Dalian, how do we pronounce that?
Dalian. Dalian.
All right, Dalian. What is Dalian doing in Antigua, and what is he doing today?
Dalian is in Antigua for a simple reason. For two simple reasons. First, he needs he wants to find some kind of medicine, specifically for his father that has been feeling well for a long time and living on a tiny maroon community on an island not far from there. They didn't have a great stock of medicine, so he came to Antigua for that. And for another also personal reason, he wants to find some information on a woman that might have passed recently through the ports of the islands.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. And what is Dalian doing right now? And what does he look like?
So we're in the sorry, governor
St.
party,
John's.
right?
It is going on. Dalian could be there.
Dalian would have probably sold his services as a waiter of some kind or servant to gain a bit of money. He can be very. Right now, he's dressed very simply. He looks like a man of people. He's clearly of mixed heritage, Asian and Caucasian. He looks like a man in his fairly old man, weirdly enough. All of the time, maybe in his 50s. Somewhat long hair, speckled with grey and white. Some colored beard, also specked with grey and white. And other than that, he made an effort to make himself presentable.
Okay. Cool. So Dalian maybe took work for one of probably I'm gonna say the two inns that are Antigua. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking for
Anything is good.
waiters, barbacks, etc. We'll say that you work at one called the Cracked Cup. Its proprietor, or the name of its proprietor is, where did I put this?
Oh, I almost forgot. The only thing of note on Dalian's tire is his necklace, which looks like pendant made of jade that twists and turns in odd angles that made it almost difficult to remember what the exact shape is.
Okay.
Quite an eye catcher.
Cool. So distinctive. Okay, yeah. So you work for the innkeep of the Crack Cup. His name is Jacob. And today, they've been commissioned by the governor to provide food and drink, along with the other tavern that's on the island. Probably, a couple on the other side of the drag of the main square. So you're probably on the clock today. Passing out food and refilling cups and all that jazz. Cool. Next is Helga.
I am playing Helge Kessen. Kessin is, or more accurately was, at one point, the child of a merchant, specifically someone who worked for the Dutch East India Company. They haven't seen their family in some years now. Not sure if there's any kind of home even to go back to. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. That doesn't really matter to Kessin, though. Kessin is still a very young person, and there was a opportunity, more or less, when they came to the New World, came to the Caribbean, to find a measure of freedom and even of an opportunity to actually explore, perhaps in more ways than one. And they took it. I am actually working. I was working that when you, but yeah, they unfortunately were captured by pirates. Fortunately, though, Kessin is actually very well educated, or at least they educated themselves, and so taking on a different name than the one they were born with, they have played the part of the sailmaster of a boat for the last couple of years now. Sailing master requires some education, and in that time they've grown accustomed to people they call a crew, even family to some degree. The way that the appearance of Kessin actually do have the face claim, which I can repost as well. Maybe not quite as dynamic action and dynamically as that, but nevertheless close enough. One of the kind of signature things when it comes to Kessin and how they see the world, how they view it, they are kind of that mindset that several Europeans were as they were first coming to different lands and seeing what was out here. That they actually find the variety and the new forms of life, flora and fauna, to be fascinating and provocative. And because of that, they are in some ways almost an amateur biologist, or not really biology being the right word for this, but someone who has taken to sketching notes and trying to understand how life works, how it cooperates, how it preys upon one another, and in particular their speciality being life at sea, though. Yes, a natural philosopher, that's the one.
Ecologist.
An ecologist to a degree.
Bird watcher.
This bird watcher as well, yes, but this is kind of before it was really kind of established. This was like even before Charles Darwin. So they don't necessarily have a way to describe it, but they know that's what they kind of is something which sparks the imagination.
Okay.
Right now in St. John's, Kessin's probably spending some time at one of the I want to say pubs, but considering there's like a big like open celebration, it's probably just a place outside. and they're probably with a couple of the crew. I kind of imagine that because of Kessin's status as sailing master, they're kind of not really allowed to be ever completely alone. Both because of fear of them maybe departing, running away, or even of someone else capturing them. Because sailing masters are kind of useful like that.
Do you? So I don't see any merits on the sheet yet. I'm sure you'll work on that. But if there's some sort of, or do you plan on taking like some sort of actual status merit with this crew or connections or something like that? Assuming that. Um. So how does Helga feel about the crew? Does he or they enjoy sort of being around them and being watched all the time? Do they have plans to go a different way in life?
I think it was definitely it's always been a bit of back and forth. However, right now they are kind of dealing with the awakening. I believe we're doing this after the awakening, correct?
Yeah, this is weeks to month. Not very long, but long enough that you've probably burned through the Numa, doing whatever bullshit you did.
Yeah. I think that from the perspective of the crew in particular as well, but also the way that Helga feels, Kessin is probably seems distracted more than else. And one of the ways that I kind of worded this, I could have looked into this a bit more as well, but one of the ways that I worded this, and I love this quote, just the idea of Kessin is almost perpetually confused by the way that we all call this place Earth when it's so obviously be called ocean. And there's so much to explore and see that they kind of there's almost like a homesickness, but not for home, but for something in the ocean.
Okay, cool. So their crew is just docked in Antigua to gather supplies, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next we will move on to John Warwick.
Okay. Yeah, John. John is the kind of an assumed name of Janet Wharton. John has been living. I want to say for about like half a year, maybe 9 months or something, under this assumed name, just in trying to make a life for himself in the new world and kind of get away from just being uh, an English housewife. So I'm going to be for now using he him pronouns for John, and I think everyone, nobody knows that John was assigned female at birth or anything. So that's kind of how most characters are going to approach him as well. He yeah, he's similarly to Helge. He is distracted, uncharacteristically so, and this has kind of started to irritate an already irritable old shipwright who is his mentor, Arnu Hagedorn, who's an old Dutch fella who is training him to be a shipwright. And I want to say they're probably on. Shoot me the name of the island again. Sorry,
Antigua.
Antigua. That was it. Yeah. They're probably on Antigua for Anu to kind of Antigua secure some kind of deal, or to kind of get some good work, kind of thing. So I imagine that they're probably using these celebrations and things as a place to kind of meet up with some contacts or something of that variety, and where they'd normally keep John on quite a short leash. Where they wouldn't normally keep John on quite a short leash, they're doing so now because John had sort of went off and did some weird stuff and has come back acting very kind of uncharacteristically distracted and weird, just staring at stuff all the time. So Anu is kind of keeping John close at hand so that John doesn't embarrass him kind of thing. So yeah, they're probably attending the celebrations. I think Anu would probably have, because Anu's been around for a while, so Anu probably has some contacts already, and is trying to meet up and sort of get some good work out of them and finagle a deal, sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good. And next is Pascal Vollande.
All right. So we're in the port of St. John's, right?
Correct.
So Pascal, having been a lifetime sort of sailor, a quartermaster, is used to occasionally having to, switch crews and, a pirate contract when it gets back to port, and just kind of like, take the cut that he had gotten and like leave with it. After awakening recently, basically he's taking sort of like a break to kind of understand what's happening. This is like a big shift in the direction his life is going. So he's just his crew had pulled into to the port of St. John, and he basically took his supply, took his cut, and for the past couple of weeks, it's just been kind of living off that dwindling money supply, while trying to get situated as a mage.
Okay. Cool. And what does Pascal look like?
Um, he's around middle-aged, right? Though I don't know average life expectancies back in those days. So, you can call him old, I guess, if you want. Definitely
Middle age, but actually 30.
looks like a lifetime sailor. I was working on art. I got this so far. Managed to find this, he looks, I'd say weathered, broad, tall for that time. Dresses pretty plainly, definitely someone who prioritizes function over form, heavy clothes, stuff that's not going to tear easily.
Do you guys have the ability to change your character art / token art? If
Nope.
I
not,
did not earlier
No.
when I checked.
Okay, cool. I
Nope.
will fix that later so that I don't have to do it. Cool. All right. So Pascal's probably also sort of drinking near the tavern or near the Broken Cups sort of porch
Yeah,
where they've got tables out.
he might even be staying nearby, at some sort
Mhm.
of
Yeah,
any
I
sort
mean,
of like house to stay at.
yeah, Antigua's not that large of a port. It's sizable enough to have, the presence of the crown in the form of the governor and, a naval ship or two. But it's not, teeming. It's not one of the larger or more valuable ones. Its main value comes in the form of the sugar plantations that sort of grow and process sugarcane in the fields nearby to St. John's, and which is then shipped out from the port. Beyond the fields of the sugarcane, the sort of mountainous jungle of Antigua sort of looms large and very close, almost from the edge of where the last field cut back the trees. But yeah, so today you're in the square. Dalian is probably working. He's bent over, probably ladling. He's probably ladling beer out of, or pouring beer out of a keg into a mug for a customer when he has his sort of hip bumped very brusquely by some figure that he can't see. And turning around, he sees that it is Jacob yet again displaying, or knocking into him, displaying sort of uncharacteristic sloth, mopiness, clumsiness. Normally, he's a man who's very cheerful and quick and light on his feet, but he's been lumbering around like sort of a lost ox today. And you turn and hand your mug back to your customer as you sort of recover from almost spilling all over yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
Dalian is going to go see Jacob and say, "Are you all right?" So you want me to take care of the customer? You don't look good. You should probably go sit down and have something to eat.
Jacob's pride is probably a little bit offended by sort of the implication, but from the help that he's not doing well. But he looks up, takes you in for a second, and give me a presence plus either
Oof.
persuasion or empathy roll.
Let's go with presence empathy. So yes, let's go.
No successes, unfortunately.
No.
He doesn't look he looks miffed and a little annoyed, but he doesn't look angry at you. But he says, it's hard to, or he tells you it's hard to focus today. Well, with my brother being gone, we're out those clams that we were going to be serving for this. The governor's furious with me. I've got a lot on my mind.
Do you need me to go look for clams? Something?
No, the clams aren't the problem. The missing good-for-nothing brother is more the issue.
Your brother is missing. Oh.
Do you continue prying?
He's just gonna say, well, I mean, most of the customers served right now. It's not like I can go look for him real quick if you want.
So he's sort of this beautiful little moment that you're having between you is sort of coming to a close since you didn't, really make an inroad with your role. But he tells you, if you want to be useful, just go inside and get another tray of flagons from the missus. We're out here, and he turns and
Sure.
pushes away.
Okay. This Dalian just gonna do what he has been told to do.
Okay, cool. You'll head inside. Meanwhile, we'll come down to Helge. So do you have names for your companions, watchers, guards?
Obviously, one of them is One Leg Pig Jake. Has to be. And the other is I think the other has to be Big Bess. That's just the names that I know them under. I don't know what their real, if they do have, well, quote unquote real names are, etc. I've never prod and poked about that. But that's the names I know them under. Very classical pirate names, I think.
Yeah, pirate shadow names.
Yeah, pirate shadow names.
Superhero names. So
Yeah.
you're probably having a drink outside the sort of patio, if one could call it a patio, of the Cracked Cup. You have your flagons of watery beer and your they probably would have pigs on the island that they raise at least, so perhaps there's some sort of salted pork or freshly prepared pork that they'd be serving to you. But other than that, sort of biscuits, very small pastries, sort of made with sugar, which is something that a lot of people in this town probably don't eat at all or often, given sort of how expensive sugar is and how much more valuable it is to sell overseas. And you're heading down the street. So what do you? So Peg Leg Jake and Big Hell. What was the second one?
Big Bess.
Big Bess. Okay. What is your like, what are they like, and what's your relationship with them? Is it, very friendly? Are they sort of more watchers than companions to you?
I'd say I would imagine being friendly enough. Again, the issue isn't the way I imagine this is that Kessin's been with the crew for at this point at least a year, if not more. Um,
So
he
there's a
is
measure of
trusted.
trust. Okay.
Yes, he is trusted. It's more case of that. There's always that standard element of like what if kind of thing, and also they don't want anything to happen to the cute young sailing master because then that's like a big hassle for the crew. Like most of the jobs they can comfortably not replace, but like most people can do. Navigating, that's a very technical job, and that's kind of Helge's. That's kind of Kessen's worth to them, right? It's kind of a. It started as a very practical, very transactionary kind of like a piece of the jigsaw for the crew. But that also means that there's even now, months, even a year later, it's like, okay, we've invested too much in having this person be in our crew, etc.
Okay. And what is Kessin looking for today? Just a good time? Is there anything in particular that, he wants to accomplish? I don't have aspirations for you, so I'm sort of
Yeah.
looking for hooks.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Kessin is. I've been sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I've just had a very busy month, basically.
Happens.
Kessin is probably just looking for something of interest, really. Generally speaking, they definitely want to see if there's any unique flora and fauna on the island, as each one is slightly different and checks up on what they've seen before, etc. However, they probably also just take an opportunity to stretch their legs and kind of maybe even social people who are not in the crew, because that is always something which, sooner or later you need to actually like get into a different headspace. But they don't have any singular goal here. It's more just, it's a celebration. It's a day to actually relax for a bit. They don't feel like they're under pressure or anything. Apart from the pressure of what they now know, of course, and are beginning to understand.
Okay. Cool. So we'll say that you're sort of ambling, tottering from sort of place to place as well as one leg Jack can. And you have a lovely afternoon enjoying the governor's hospitality. You um you and Pascal probably are both sort of in sight of the governor's table, which sits sort of at the head of the square. There's a little makeshift stage that was up there, which the governor and his wife are sitting at with a couple of other sort of petty dignitaries, like the port officer and a uh, sort of naval uniformed fellow who you don't recognize, and notably Dalian doesn't recognize. He's been in town for a while, so out of all of you who just sort of set foot off the boat, he's the only one who'd sort of have the lay of the land. But yeah,
Do
he's
I
just sort of.
have
Go ahead.
So I was thinking, do I have any kind of indication, any opinion about the governor's fame, notoriety, generally how people seem to feel about the governor, considering that we're at a party and, well, a celebratory event. Like, I imagine that I've been hearing things, and one of the I've been feeling about merits. One of them I'm taking for Kessin, which I think makes a lot of sense, is having trained observer.
Okay. Yeah, so, how do you slash have you been attempting to find out? Just, casually overhearing conversations, asking questions.
Oh, well, I'm sure everyone is gossiping, and also like going to different places. Maybe like checking out what people have in sale, etc., and asking, well, how's trade been, and kind of having that element of understanding enough of the local area to be able to infer how well it seems to be doing and how happy people seem to be, or
Sure.
discontent.
Give me a manipulation plus politics roll.
Ooh. I do have politics, and this is also the element as well when it comes to the skills, is that even though it has been some time, Kessin is of course the child of a of a director in the yeah, we go, one success. Dutch East India Company, baby, let's go.
Sun never sets. Okay.
The
So
Dutch.
right. Yeah, so you ask around, and the tradespeople and shopkeepers in town all have plenty of opinions about the governor. The most, or sort of the top three of them, is that he's, a layabout, a fool, and a womanizer. Are sort of the keywords that come up most. There's
Exactly the kind of man my father found very useful in doing business.
Mhm,
Mainly because they're very easy to find their weak spot and squeeze.
indeed. So Governor, please load. Governor Spencer Bennett, Her Majesty's governor of the island of Antigua. It has been governor of the island for
Bennett.
some years, at least 3 of them. And he is, of course, British. He has always seemed profoundly disinterested in the governance of the island. Aside from the joke is that his eyes don't see any further than the sugar plantations. He is mainly motivated by money, and the sugar plantations bring him money. But aside from that, the town itself seems to not benefit from His Excellency's beneficent attention.
Languishing.
Um,
Well, that's very interesting. Of course, nothing that I can help with or even really care about right now, but it's always important to be aware of how people are feeling about the general state of the powers that be.
Well, Governor Bennett seems to, be being quite fine, as a common topic of gossip is the scandal of having his mistress at his table on the other side of him from his, duly married wife.
Oh yeah,
And
we're a very civilized place of the world here. World's eyes. Very civilized in a colonial power. Yes, yes. So with that in mind as well, I would probably like comment to my companions as we move between stalls, etc. Just about this. It sounds like the governor isn't too popular. At least we know that'll help us if we need to do any bribes. I'd hate to be in Port place where people are loyal to him.
oh, yeah. So I'm gonna say that neither of these people have sort of loyalty to the crown. They're probably both. Do you imagine that the crew is mainly British or Dutch or some other nationality of
It's probably a smorgasbord. I forget if I made a note of this somewhere already or not, but I would imagine that for Kessin, they at least can speak Dutch and French. So I'd imagine someone of their, but I mean French being lingua franca for a long time. But I imagine like
Well,
most pirate
for
crews,
certain
there's a fair big
classes.
combination. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so yeah, the general sort of response from them is that they can't imagine being loyal to a governor at all, especially one who sort of drinks away as much of his money and as this one. I mean, they're no stranger to drink, but they pay for drink for themselves. Okay, cool. At this point, Warwick is probably sort of with Arnaud sort of nearish by, not on the main drag, but at a shipwright's office, sort of close by. He is in town, or Arnaud's in town for on a consultancy contract or some sort. You mentioned during one of your messages, Skrig. So I imagine he's here, sort of talking with.
Yep.
He's in a workshop. He's sort of talking shop with one of his contacts, while John is sort of nearby. And I'm sure it's informative. But what is John thinking and doing right now? Is he sort of trying his best to attentively learn? Is he looking for an opportunity to slip out as they probably chat rapidly in, well, Arnaud probably speaks pretty decent English, so in, they're speaking in, as good as Arnaud's English is, and as fast as it allows him to, about sort of materials, supplies, techniques, etc.
All pretty dry stuff, yeah.
Right.
So John is kind of has been sort of suitably cowed enough that John isn't just trying to get away, but John is very much addicted to looking at stuff with their mage sight. And specifically with spirit, because spirit sight can detect the resonant condition, which most things have. And their sight kind of manifests as this sort of senses kind of melt together. It's a little sort of synesthesic, but everything just seems to just be a cloud of thingness that is resonance. And so John is very much like obsessed with perceiving those sorts of things. What kind of resonance is he getting from the guys that Anu is talking to?
Okay, cool. So looking around, sort of dreamily, turning on your spirit sight, you yeah, so spirit sight reveals the strength of the local presence and nature of resonance condition. Okay, so the sort of immediate environment is sort of overflowing with, no surprise to John, wood resonance. There's wood pieces, there's wood tools, there's wooden walls. This is one of the sort of buildings in town which is constructed almost entirely out of wood, which sort of is a little bit rarer. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be on Antigua. Antigua still possesses much forest. The other sort of islands of the Caribbean sort of have long since had their wood cut back for mass, but Antigua is an exception. But yeah, so the people themselves, Arnaud sort of has this resonance of sort of craft about him, and he has heavy ship resonance. Arnaud has spent a lot of time on a ship, as have you, for the past sort of however many months the voyage was. Sitting in, living among, breathing the sort of off-gassing of the wood in the ship around you. The man he's talking to, a shorter man, who sort of has a small mustache and short-cut beard. He has sort of a resonance of he's got that same sort of wood resonance as surrounds him. He spends all his day sort of working with wood, hammering wood, and it sort of attunes him to his craft. There's probably, looking around, you see sort of his tools resonant with craft resonance, with shaping. At this point, you hear, looking around the workshop, you feel sort of a, rapping on your hand, which you were resting on a table, and looking up in shock. You see Arnaud sort of angrily staring at you, saying, "Pay attention. This is important." This is a phrase which is common to him. Everything is very important when Arnaud is speaking it. And seeing that your attention has been successfully captured, he gives a small, irritated yet concerned glower, and then proceeds back into his monologue on the top sales.
Okay, so you said the shorter guy is also kind of that wood and craftsmanships and things. Was Arno talking to two people or just the one guy?
Just the one guy.
Okay, so this is
The three of you in the shop.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this is kind of more of the same to John, and I think John is going to kind of, I think maybe has noticed the when Anu is annoyed, that there are these kind of puffs and wisps and kind of striations of a different kind of resonance, probably anger or annoyance or something like that, something more emotional, and that kind of sets something off. So I think John is gonna try and annoy Anu a bit more.
Okay.
How am I gonna do that? I think John is gonna try and maybe I mean, Arnie's having this discussion with this guy, sort of for trade reasons, right? So I don't know. I think maybe try and just ask some stupid questions that sort of make make it seem like Arnu's apprentice is a massive idiot, basically.
Okay. Fair enough. Are you trying to sort of be coy about, or sort of, you're probably trying to put on an act, right? You're trying to make it seem like you don't know what you're talking about when you actually
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
So why don't we give this a wits plus subterfuge roll? Or I guess this would probably
Cool.
be more of a sort of manipulation and subterfuge, because you're trying to, socially interact with this person using that. Yeah, we'll go with that. Manipulation and
Yeah,
subterfuge.
I think that's fair. So that's a grand total of 2 dice. I might spend a willpower.
You can
No,
do
I won't
this.
spend a willpower. Just do 2 dice.
You have so little. For the viewers at home, Skrig has followed the Monster Factory rule for their character and has 5 composure, 1 manipulation.
Oh my
and
God.
Has 9 willpower as a result.
Sorry, that didn't seem to
All
work.
that-
Hang on.
I mean, I have 1 presence and 4 composure, so
This makes me think of John Wick, a man of sheer fucking will.
Yeah. So what you'll do to roll it, I don't know if you mentioned you hadn't used Foundry before, so you'll click on the attribute and then you'll click on the skill in your character sheet, and both of them should be highlighted in blue. And at that point, you'll click the dice option in the toolbar underneath the portrait, the one that on hover says execute skill test. So close. Okay, so you do successfully annoy Arnaud. You ask some really basic questions about sort of joinings that are, quite elementary. You ask some
Could
sort of...
Sorry to interrupt. Could I
Sure,
turn that into a dramatic failure?
You certainly could. So go
You
ahead
know,
and take a
crack of
beat.
lightning, like, what the fuck is that?
Sure. So go ahead and take a beat. You do that by in your sheet underneath the Mage template dropdown. There's a book icon. you'll click on that, and then you can select or input the modifier of how many beats you're gaining or losing, and a label for it. Then you click add. But yeah, so dramatic failure. That normally means a condition of some sort. So we'll say that. So how do you want this to go? Do you sort of imagine this as sort of really taking a sort of whammy to sort of our node's sort of disposition at the moment? Is this a dramatic failure in the sense that you know, it's very, very, very apparent that you're playing dumb, and this has some sort of effect on John's, sense of self-worth or emotional state or whatever?
I think probably the worst outcome for John is that so John was aiming to just kind of get a different vibe in the room, kind of thing, and to kind of push the boundary of his relationship with Anu, but not sort of ruin anything in terms of the what he's trying to get done here. So I think maybe rather than like getting that annoyance, it's, I don't know, maybe it just kind of, it does ruin the negotiation, but it doesn't annoy Anu, maybe. So it's sort of stress the relationship there, but Anu just is kind of like, oh, okay, we're just going to go somewhere else, and this
Yeah.
is going to impact me financially, but I'll just be compassionate towards you.
Why don't we say that John has the chastened condition. Sort of Arnud looks at you and wonders, like, he has that look of, what are you doing? It must be sort of, the vapors again or whatever. And he says, John, why don't you go outside for air? Go get water and something to drink. We'll be here. And the sort of man who's sort of in there, looking at you quizzically and also judging Arnud, sort of is standing silently, sort of eyebrow raised as well, after your sort of strange question about the, if the sort of like front ornamentation of the ship goes on before or after the prow. And so for the condition, we'll say that it'll just give you a -2 to the next presence roll you have to do, and it'll be resolved when that occurs.
Cool. John is kind of, is almost like, oh god, I've just been so childish, and kind of red-facedly leaves the shop.
Okay, cool. And last is, Voland or Pascal. What is Pascal looking for here? Is he looking to sort of have a drink alone? Is he looking for trinket or tchotchke, companionship?
Looking, companionship and a bit of a break. He's kind of driven himself up a wall a little bit with the wizard eyes recently. And with the festivities going on, I think he's just gonna get out there and do the old habit of just talking to other sailors, sharing stories, seeing
Okay,
what kind of tales people are willing to tell.
cool. So you're going around. Give me a presence plus socialize roll as you go around, just sort of trying to chat and make friendly. You can take a. Oh, okay, never mind. It's fine. I was gonna say you can take a -1 because everyone's appropriately socially lubricated from the celebration, but
Gross.
you succeed just fine. Cool. Yeah. So you're a popular guy. You're, big. You've got a lot of presence. You've got lots of stories to tell. And before too long, you've got sort of a small group of folks, wandering around with you, and sort of listening to your tales, sharing their own. Eventually, after enough beer is drunken, arms are around shoulders and shanties are being sung, and it's making a sort of pretty big, not scene in the negative sense that people are, looking at you and judging, but sort of this big, tall guy surrounded by people singing shanties is drawing a lot of attention. Cool. At this point, everyone who's in sort of the central area of St. John's, that is, everyone feels their peripheral mage sight go off. And we'll go down the line and we'll just share what the PMS for everyone takes the form of. So for every mage, passive mage sight is slightly different in nature. I don't think anyone took merits like keen periphery or anything like that that would modify it. But...
Not yet.
I did.
Oh, okay, cool. So in this case, John's passive mage sight would be tinged with sort of information about the various arcana that are involved in the effect, but we'll start with Dalian. What is his passive mage sight like?
So when he's passive mage sight, close to Dalian's feel or the hear behind him, a strange sibilant stream of whispers and laughter with voices that are far too ethereal to be human.
Okay. Cool. And Helge?
What my mage sight is like.
The passive mage sight specifically.
I think it would be a case of seeing. Yeah, the way I kind of view it is almost like a overlay of like a coral texture across the ground.
Okay, so you sort of briefly have this like sort of hallucination of like this coral texture overlaying things in your visual field when you feel this passive mage sight. Because a reminder that for most cases, passive mage sight isn't sort of directional. It doesn't tell you very much, except in cases where, there's a merit or something, whatever. So you just know that like something is happening and suddenly like everything is, corally textured, corally colored for a flash, and then it goes away. Cool. I like that.
I imagine when something is like really intense, it looks like people turning into fish monsters. Being
subtle.
consumed by sea life. But yeah, that is very subtle.
Okay, John's.
Yeah, so it would be like kind of a low level sort of synesthesia thing, but like a kind of wave of it. So it would just be like, a strange taste, a weird feeling on his skin, that kind of thing. And he's kind of, with this sort of taste for resonance, as it were, he can also, knows which arcana it sort of falls under as well.
Yes, in this case, the arcanum in question is space, which
okay.
John doesn't know. So there's this sort of flash of like, what is that? Like there's this sort of, I don't know, like this symbol of space is sort of manifested somehow in sort of his awareness, but he doesn't understand what it is. But there's some sense of maybe like transgression. There's this feeling of sort of, violation or, boundaries being pushed, sort of laid into the sort of audio, visual, emotional sort of context of his synesthesic experience.
Very cool.
Okay, and what is Pascal's passive mage sight like?
Sort of like a sudden feeling of like stress, not quite like in the head, but in the being, like something pushing or maybe like pulling, um, like on the inside. Stuff just
Like
feels kind of like
tension.
yeah, tension. Maybe in like extreme cases, maybe even like a slight cracking hallucination, auditory.
Okay. Doesn't sound particularly pleasant.
You get used to it.
Um, okay. Yeah, but so all of a sudden this happens, and I'm gonna say that for maybe all of you, this might be one of the first times that you've well, so for spirits are around sometimes to manifest. I imagine that for John, or for sort of John and Kessin, who have sort of the capacity to provoke spirits into doing things. Maybe they've experienced this before, but all of you instinctually realize that like this is this like feeling you have that something is happening. You might not know exactly sort of how it works or what it is or sort of the
Uh,
sensitivity or what kinds of things set off your
if we
passive mage sight because you're baby
if
mages.
if we've been made for at least a few weeks, Dalian probably knows that something weird is going on, but
Right.
it's not probably not the first time he felt this.
Okay. Cool.
Oh
So
God, it's happening again.
So, first reactions.
Um, Pascal, due to drunkenness, is going to trip a little bit, not expecting the sudden tug.
Okay, and you
Walk
probably sort
on
of,
a table.
your weight bears down onto, the person who's very close to your left and causes a bit of like, hey, as, there's, a little bit of sort of crowd dynamics as people are all suddenly sort of pushed or jostled in a chain reaction.
And it's gonna take him a few long seconds to like get back up and regain composure,
Okay, cool.
separating
And
away from the group, kind of waving him off.
right. And as you're, regaining your bearings, it happens again. And then again, and then another time, which is, even if you've experienced sort of your passive mage sight going off before, probably haven't experienced it that many times in that quick of a succession. As you just sort of feel your sort of senses just sort of shaking or uh, rattling from sort of the rapidity of whatever it is going on.
John immediately tried to make it happen again, so is now quite scared that they're making this happen without knowing what it is. But then stop, and it still is happening. So okay, they realize that it's not them.
Okay.
Dalian is gonna look around very confused and put down the keg of beer and try to look around to see what's the cause of this
Sure.
exactly.
Give me a perception check -2 because of the sheer number of people
Yeah.
around.
Wits composure -2.
If you just click on the eyeball button, that'll also do it.
Oh, okay.
But no successes. So you look around. You don't. So you're looking specifically for something that looks out of place.
Yes.
And scanning around, you don't see anything that looks, immediately like it doesn't belong. You don't see any, 10-foot tall monsters. You don't see, the spirit of Queen Anne floating amidst the revelers. You don't see, sugarcane getting up and walking. But you just see a lot of people, sort of, vaguely defined people passing by and, in big crowds, making it difficult to pick out any particular details about individual ones. you could, and that's what you get at a glance. You could sort of leave your post and go look around and investigate deeper, but that would entail sort of changing your point of view or your vantage point.
Yeah, he's gonna go put his keg of beer back and mutter that he needs to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
Kessin is going to try to be a bit subtle here, and by a bit I mean a tiny bit. I think that the other crew are familiar with Kessin kind of going off saying like, oh, there's a bird there's a rare finch over there. I'm gonna go
That's
and
a bird.
Yep, that's a bird. That's a bird. Bird. And because I have in this case I've probably been acting upon the curious vice, and I'm going to take out my little like sketchbook and just head on off. And I want to roll perception because I've trained observer. Hopefully with 9 again. Oh no, it'll be 8 again with this.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
8
It will
again.
help you succeed harder.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's do
-2,
this.
same penalty.
Yep, that's fine. What'd I get? Doesn't show me.
Cool.
You
One
tell me.
success.
Oh.
So you're looking around for anything that's out of place. The first thing you notice is that everyone else around you seems just as they were 15 seconds ago. People are drinking, reveling. No one else seems to have noticed what you noticed on sort of first feeling, which isn't unusual. What is unusual is that after a couple of seconds of searching around, you do notice that some other people are acting unusually. For example, you see a particularly tall man, sort of with a big, wild, unkempt head of hair and beard, suddenly like stumble and cause a bit of a sort of crowd ruckus. You probably had already noticed him and had seen sort of how merry he was and how he was, singing without a care because of the sort of impression that Pascal made with his socialize role.
Expression 0 also tends to have, an impression on people.
Right. So it is very apparent to Kessin that, like, something has set this guy off that startled him the same way it startled you.
Okay.
And you probably would also notice
I will approach.
Dalian.
I will
Dalian's
approach
reaction.
the. Yeah. I think I remember saying that Dalian's going off to like excuse himself. So,
Mhm.
the first probably go to be the big guy, who's not running. Is not going anywhere in particular. So I'm hoping that they may have some answers.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, Pascal, you see this probably significantly shorter than you young person step up. They would be they're clearly dressed in like a typical sailing outfit, really. I say let's say typical sailing for like a privateer crew, and you probably would recognize like they're probably with one of the cruisers in port kind of thing. They're not like dressed like fancy or anything, or like in a way which is explicitly like this is the time of thing. They have their sketchbook in hand, and they actually go through Dutch, French, and Spanish as they try to tell you, "Do you see this?" And they show you like a quick sketch of like what looks like just strange barnacles and coral things like covering floors and tables. It's like what?
Pascal's gonna respond in accented French, strangely accented, like clearly picked up the cosmopolitan sort of accent where like, strange inflections maybe from like meeting other, people, ways of speaking. And he's just gonna say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can help you," as he like still tries to blink away the festivities.
Okay. At this point, has Pascal sort of drawn away from? You mentioned you'd sort of started to draw away from sort of the other revelers around you, or are you still surrounded by curious onlookers?
Some of the onlookers might still be curious, but Pascal definitely, when he felt that there was the unintentional stumble, and then I guess as the like successive pulls happened, he kind of made his way to the side.
Okay. Cool.
And right now he's like, bleary-eyed, trying to peer at the sketchbook, like leaning in.
Do you need
Um,
glasses, friend?
Sorry, I'm just a bit out of it. I was enjoying myself a bit too much. What did you ask again?
Did you notice anything?
Besides besides the good times, nothing on here, as he like, indicates one of the
Can I
barnacles.
roll empathy? I want to see if I believe him.
Sure. So it sounds like, is Pascal like actively trying to hide that he senses more than he sees,
Bluff,
or is he just
yeah.
like, no,
Slight. I
those?
mean, like he doesn't want to sound too like weird, but he's not
Yeah.
doing a particularly good job at it. Like he does
Yeah.
go like, "Oh, and then he like pauses and goes like, "Well, I didn't notice any of this."
Okay, but yeah, so he
So
knows
it's not
what
hidden very
Kessin
well.
is asking. But it's not
Yeah,
like, no, I haven't seen any barnacles.
he
Like,
might
we're
like
in town.
he might raise an eyebrow a little bit,
Okay, sure.
trying to
Go
equally
ahead
suspect
and
info.
I don't know. We could have you roll off, or you two can tell me how it goes.
Pascal's
It's up
gonna
to you.
basically Pascal's gonna be careful with his words, but he's gonna give Kessin kind of like a searching look, like, are we on the same wavelength here? Are you asking what I think you're asking, or are you just a strange naturalist? I mean, like, you never know. It's like naturalists,
Strange natural philosophers. Like, how dare you?
like they walk up like, "Oh,
We're
have you seen this
perfectly.
bird?" It's like, I can't just assume you're a wizard.
I'm looking for the strange molluscoid. Have you seen them?
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Show this poster. It's not like Kessin like has like some birdness in their hair and like just completely obviously like part druid at this point. Like, what's going on? High off mushrooms again. I can roll with empathy for me too.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Oh, do you
I
want to?
probably shouldn't.
Should we both roll
It's gonna
with
be
empathy?
hopeful. Oh! Oh!
Oh!
Oh!
Okay.
Should I roll anything?
Kessin's eyes visibly narrow.
Sure. Go ahead and roll.
Oh wow!
Go ahead and roll manipulation plus subterfuge if you want to.
Oh no, that one's that's real low. I would fail that one.
Okay,
I mean,
so we'll just assume that's an auto fail, or
yeah.
okay, yeah.
I'm onto you, big guy. You see something. Tells me what you sees with your strange wizard eyes.
Yeah,
all right.
Kessin knows that this guy knows more than he's letting on. You can see it sort of in his uncomfortable body language and in sort of the quick movement of his eyes.
I will.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, well, you noticed something, so you should say it.
No, I was just going to say that I look over my shoulder. I remember that I have a. Well, again, it's not an escort or something, but like, if I spend too long talking to strange sailors, people might get ideas. So I'm going to basically tell you, I'll just in character, won't I? My name's Kessin. Look, if you want to talk about what you've seen, you can find us weighed anchor in the port, and I'll give you the. We didn't get the name of the ship. I think I gave you a name last time, but we can do it retroactively. The name of the ship.
My ship face.
Shippy ship face. Shippy shit face. That's how you're feeling right now with us. With Mage activates. But basically, I'm letting you know where you can come and talk about Mage shit. Ooh. I'm looking at ship names now.
After
I
the
like.
name, Pascal's gonna reach out to try to like grip your forearm and like do like a big handshake or whatever, and just say like Pascal, pat your arm a few times, friendly sailor ways.
I give
Okay.
you the name of the ship being the Privateer's Rose. That'll do. And after that, I will actually. So where is the other guy? Because I didn't. You said I did notice Dalian as well.
That's a good question. What did Dalian do after he left his post? And
Look
actually,
around.
okay, cool. And first, John, you sort of verified that you sort of it's not something you're doing. What did John do after that? Did he go, leave the shop and go out to get some water as directed by our node? Did he?
Oh no, this has completely captured John's attention. So, as I said, John thought that because there was a kind of like boundaries crossing element there, John sort of thought, was that because I left the shop? And kind of pops in and pops out, and it feels it go off again and then stops, but it keeps going. So kind of ascertains that it's not because
so
John is
he's
walking
sort of
through a door.
so he's experimenting, trying to replicate.
Yeah, he's got mage sight up, but I'm guessing spirit and life aren't really picking up much there.
No,
so
and you're on sort of probably a side street from the main square. So at this point, everyone does hear sort of loud, sort of aggrieved yet shrilly bellow coming from the head table. As Governor Bennett stood up and is screaming at his companions. After sort of a second of shock and acclamation, it seems that someone has emptied his pockets. His purse is gone. His personal keys are gone, and one of his shoes is gone.
Oh, he's been scandalized.
And he is obviously blaming his wife in first instance, who is just as confused and perturbed as he is, if not more so.
The idea of like my shoe's gone. Wife, you've done this to me. Why would I want your shoe? Like, I don't know.
They're nice
so
shoes.
You took the dog.
I think
And you
Sorry.
probably
as
also
well,
hear like some indistinct amount of bellowing and shrieking. Yeah, shrieking is probably a more appropriate word for the sound that's emitting from Governor Bennett's throat. You're probably not close enough to make out words, but
here's what I'd like to do to change that. I'd like to cast a spell.
Okay.
I'd like to cast heightened senses on myself.
And I'm gonna run away with my new shoe. Was me all along. The shoe
Okay.
thief.
I'll get you, shoe thief.
Cool. So to cast a spell or to cast an improvised spell, you click that third button, improvise spell cast, and then you'll fill out all of the fiddly bits, and that'll help you calculate factors and dice.
Can I not just click on Gnosis and life?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
we can give this a quick and dirty.
Okay, I'm gonna spend a point of willpower as well to bump that up to 5 dice.
Cool.
Hey!
Okay, 2 successes. Yep. Your spell goes off. So what's the imago of this spell like? Sort of heightened sense. You're using life magic to change your pattern to sort of increase your senses, but what does that look like in your sight? What's the imago?
So it's very much kind of just leaning in. It's like taking in a deep breath and then just opening yourself up to that kind of synesthesia, and it kind of clarifies a lot of it and makes it make sense. And like a almost like an adrenaline spike. It just kind of clarifies your senses and makes everything like really zoomed in almost.
Okay, cool. So sure. As far as the actual effects, I'll just say that you now can pick out the actual words that Governor Spencer Bennett is actually speaking above sort of the hubbub of the crowd, which probably has died down in reaction to sort of this outburst closer to the stage. But yeah, you hear him screaming, "Woman, where has my shoe gone? My purse is gone. I know you've been coveting my purse since I started spending on Marie. You don't know who Marie is. And there's, some amount. Yeah, there's some amount of sort of reply that's a little bit fainter from his wife, sort of expressing utter confusion at what the hell is he talking about and what's going on. Why would she have taken his shoe?
Who is Marie?
So Dalian is probably close enough to actually hear. Marie
Yeah.
is the governor's mistress.
No, yeah, I just imagined the wife being totally unaware of everything. Just came here and like.
So
Cool.
knowing that there's kind of accusations flying around and thievery and stuff and a bit of disruption, John is gonna keep those wizard eyes up and be looking for kind of resonances that look out of place and that look strange, whether that's kind of thievery or anger or fear or something that for anybody who looks out of the ordinary.
Okay, cool. You're making your way over towards sort of the source of the noise. It'll take you a little bit to get there, some number of seconds. And what are the rest of you doing, as you probably sort of are surprised by this outburst?
Kessin cast a look from the big guy back to like his crewmates, and kind of look of like, maybe we should go.
And
Dalian is
Yeah,
going
go
to
ahead.
infer with his intellect that if someone is missing a shoe and a purse, then someone else was again the shoe and a purse. So he's going to look to see if anyone, is trying to hide. Yeah, I mean,
Who
Okay.
is wearing 3 shoes?
yes.
The laws of thermodynamics. You can't destroy energy and matter. It must be transferred.
Yes. No, it must be. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. And what about
So
Pascal?
he's gonna. Yeah.
Pascal will just like basically be trying to survey the area with wizard eyes active, just space in mind, because he's still curious about the pulling.
Okay. So looking at the governor, you do notice something about the table that catches your eye in space sight. It's sort of this sort of pinprick of other elsewhere here. That sort of stands out. Since we're talking about active mage sight, Pascal, what does your active mage sight sort of look like? How do things sort of change when you're looking at them through the aspect of space in mind?
When Pascal activates active mage sight, the world kind of starts shifting and overlaying with different reflections, like perspective gets all twisted up. And it's very visual. Much of the information conveyed then is like in different spiking shards that kind of like pierce objects or surround them. Like instead of the traditional demons and chains, it's more like shards of like a shattered reflection and the stuff that dances on them, or like cracks that arc outwards from them.
Okay, cool.
Very chaotic, but that's Mastigos.
Okay, so in this case, he probably sees sort of around the governor's foot and sort of behind him these shards of being that look out of place, that are almost like broken glass. Without sort of looking any further, you can't, or without spending some time trying to sort of dig deeper, you don't have much knowledge about the exact nature of these.
Pascal's just gonna try to, with active mage sight still active, just kind of like, walk towards this stuff. Curiosity overwhelming.
Mhm.
Just kind
Okay.
of like, all right, let's take a look at this, and he's gonna try to push through any crowd or onlookers that have gathered.
Okay. It's probably about this time that everyone's passive mage sight except for John's goes off again. As
Oh,
something
God.
happened. um,
Something else happened. No.
Where are my shoes? Can I take my shoes?
um,
Everyone, take your shoes off.
okay, but yeah, so that it's probably about exactly the same second that Kessin says maybe we should go, just to be dramatic. In the
To be clear,
meanwhile,
to be clear, I didn't say we should go. I kind of gave a look to my crewmates,
okay.
like maybe we should go.
Okay.
I haven't committed to anything yet. As Pascal is like walking off, seeing something. Can I? What's the intention of my crewmates?
I mean, they are. You said that you wandered off. They're probably following at a distance, just keeping you in eyesight
Yeah.
so that you don't, get stuck in a barrel or something, chasing some kind of strange rat. But
It's a squawks. It's a squirrel fox. Look, I've discovered a new
Um,
species.
Jack is looking, or watching the spectacle of the governor very amusedly. He wouldn't look out of place with popcorn in his hand if popcorn were a thing that people ate in this climb. But your other companion is looking kind of annoyed and watching out for trouble and checking sort of their own purse.
That being and his shoes. If that being the case, I'm going to keep my sketchbook in hand, and I'm going to yeah, I'm going to see what Jack is taking a look at.
Okay. Oh no, he's
Sorry,
watching
Pascal,
the
I mean.
governor.
Sorry, Pascal, I mean.
Oh, Pascal. Okay. So Pascal, you are actively hallucinating at the moment.
Yeah,
While
and still a
trying
little
to
bit drunk.
while trying to navigate a crowd. So
Yeah.
why don't you give me just a wits plus composure roll? This isn't a perception roll, but sort of yeah. No, let's say
And
dexterity plus composure -2
okay, Dex composure -2.
as you try to navigate through the crowd while high
It's
on life.
okay. They're a space mage. They understand spaces.
Yeah, I do have the space accurately judge all distances.
That's true.
Even when drunk.
I might spend a willpower.
Imagine a space mage being pulled over by the cops. Like you're drunk. Like no, but I didn't hit a thin. Okay.
All right, I'll spend a willpower. One
Okay.
success.
Nice. You managed to make it through the crowd without sort of offending anyone's honor. You sort of push through. Your stature certainly helps, but you make your way sort of. How close to the stage are you trying to get?
Kessin's like I'm with him.
Trying
Follows.
to be in character. Pascal's trying to be like still on the edge, and he's gonna but he's probably going to step a little bit like too far, like noticeably closer than like a lot of the other people who are keeping their distance are.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
The crowd, there's a lot of people, and it's, not like there's, a string of soldiers with bayonets keeping the poors back, but people are keeping a little bit of respectable distance from the governor's table. You walk pretty much up to, the end of this long table. But you are certainly close enough to start sort of digging deeper now, as you notice that you get some strange, like, slightly alarmed looks from the people at the table, like, yes, can I help you? Or
Pascal's
no,
just
you're
gonna,
just gonna stand there?
as he pushes past people, just kind of offhandedly mutter like, excuse me, sorry, but very clearly focused on something else.
Mhm.
And then just start, trying to understand
Mystery
what
over
this
there.
strange, like, broken shard
Okay.
thing is.
Well, in order to sort of really delve deeper, you feel like you need to really concentrate, like really, really concentrate. Mechanically, I'm telling you to sort of spend a point of willpower if you want to sort of continue to move into sort of a more focused form of mage sight.
hmm
Um,
And
Go ahead.
Pascal will do that.
Okay. Um. Yeah. Just give me a Gnosis plus space roll. Um.
Can I spend any mana on this? Like, I forget some of the mechanics for focused. You just want the roll.
You can. So spending additional mana will sort of pour mana into its pattern, and you'll watch how it reacts to the thing in question. And it'll give you functionally extra successes if you do succeed, equal to the number of points of mana spent.
If I do succeed, I'll just do a normal roll. One success.
Okay, one success. So looking deeper into this thing, you sort of you focus on it in terms of sort of yeah. So scrutiny. Something happened that made the place where his shoe was, the place where his pocket was, not here. But this doesn't look like anything you could do. You've cast space magic before, surely. Experimenting with your new powers. You know what it looks like when you sort of mess with space, the lie of space, pulling things together and sort of making them further apart. But this doesn't look like something you could do. It looks like, yeah, some effect mechanically allowed a reach from afar to just yoink these things.
All right. Is there any more reaction from any of the people around or the people at the table?
I mean, there's a probably the portmaster is sitting at the table, like very close to where you're standing, and he's looking up at you, asking, can I help, sir?" And it's clear he's been trying to like get your attention, but you've been totally engrossed in doing this thing for the past several seconds.
Zoning back in, Pascal is just gonna say, my bad, I'm sorry, and kind of like stagger backwards,
Okay.
heading back towards the crowd.
Cool. Dalian, give me as you're looking around, you're trying to investigate. You mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Give me a wits plus investigation roll.
I'm going to spend a willpower on that.
Okay. At -2 because of again the sheer number of people.
Okay, so it's a chance roll, so I'm not going to spend willpower on that.
It would. So if you have a chance die and you spend a point of willpower, it will bring it up to 3 dice.
Nope, because I already have 0 investigation, 2 in wits, so it's already chance dice if I don't
It's
spend
not.
willpower.
It's not additive. Like a chance die is 1 die.
Yes.
And then from there, willpower will bump it up. It's not like adding a modifier along with the other modifiers normally.
Okay. So it's 1 normal die then.
Mm-hmm. Or at least I'll check that later, but we'll roll with this interpretation for now.
Oh, I rolled 2 instead of 1.
Okay.
The first one was a success, so
Yep.
nice.
Wait, so you did spend willpower?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so 9 succeeds. You're looking around, you're, sort of making a little circle, or, sorry, I should ask you, how is Dalian investigating?
Looking around people, like really, it's his only the only way he thinks about, like he's trying to think about, okay, so who, if I was the guy that took the shoes and the shoe, if I did something magical, question mark, where would I be? Would I be trying to live right now? Would I be gloating? He's trying to look for those kind of people.
Okay, cool. So as Dalian is sort of, casing the people, looking at people who seem to be out of place, he happens to sort of glance down at the bottom of, a shop stall as he sort of emerges out of a press of people, and he sees what looks like a shoe vanish around an alley corner down the alley that he's looking at.
What about that shoe?
Okay, a lone shoe moving by itself, or a shoe attached to a leg?
No, the shoe did not appear to be
Yeah.
attached to or held by a human being. It was just a quick
Start
instant.
believing in fairy tales. You're
The
in.
shoe's a culprit.
You saw it for just a flash of a second as it vanished around a corner. Maybe even just the back half of a shoe.
Okay.
You probably weren't paying that much attention to the governor's shoes before, this incident, but you could probably make inferences.
So his theory is that it's weird people, the reflection people, the people that don't really exist or exist, but like it's not humans that did that. It's strange people he saw during his awakening. So he's gonna try to chase after them.
All right, and as Dalian, makes chase, we will take a break since we are about halfway in.
All right.
Cool.
Went to buckle my shoe.
I'll activate break time by clicking that button in the bottom left, and you can click on the back button or break button when you come back from your breaks.
Okay,
Cool.
I see you. Cool.
See you in a bit.
See you. Shoot.
Hey, cool. Welcome back. Before we went on break, Dalian happened to see out of the corner of his eye down an alley, not a particularly dark one. That alley's, it's pretty bright and the buildings aren't that tall. A shoe vanished around a corner.
Mhm.
Meanwhile,
What?
Helge Kessin is standing sort of behind Pascal near a
Mhm.
table with the gathered dignitaries and powers that be of the backwater port of Antigua. And John, probably thanks to your enhanced vision, I'll say that you should give me a perception check. No penalties, but you can take a +1 from your enhanced senses, I think. I don't know what potency you gave the spell, but
It was just potency 1, so that's fine.
okay, cool.
You see this
So
giant enemy
right
shoe
here.
on the sea.
It gains a health bar.
My shoe arcanum is at 5.
Oh,
I can create shoes.
A combat with the shoe.
Oh.
You remember, like in James
now.
Bond with the knife in the shoe. Oh my god!
That's what we call an exceptional success.
Okay, cool. So gain back a point of willpower. And John using actually, do you still have your mage site up?
I do, yes.
Okay, and it's just spirit?
It's spirit and life, but
Okay,
focusing on
cool.
spirit.
Okay, cool. So John sees flit across the comparatively less populated street in front of him, sort of underneath the, sort of low across the ground, this, what seems to be, this in your sight, this grotesque looking opossum. It has sort of this shoe in its mouth, carrying it, and it's flitting across the intervening space. And by flitting, I mean it seems to dart out of an alley on one side of the street, and then in a blink, it's on the next side. In sort of this, and then it's sort of away and across. But in that brief second, you get a full look at it. With your life sight, you can tell that it is indeed alive. It's what else does life sight give you? It has possum resonance. Possums aren't
Shoe
native.
resonant.
Yeah. Let's see. What else does life sight give you? Just so I don't shortchange you. How injured, no toxins or diseases or tilts. But yeah, you just see this possum just sort of almost blink across the street from one end to the other. And no one around you seems to take notice of it or the shoe.
I'm certain they're not a spirit as well, or
you don't know. You haven't, cast any. Do you have spirit 2? Is that when you get the attainment to be able to see spirits?
So active sight shows me spirits in twilight. Yeah.
It is not a spirit.
It is possum claimed.
Okay, new Cabal pet.
Do
I have an opportunity to cast any other sort of spell on it, or is it just?
It's in less than a second that it's there and gone, but you do see the direction it went.
All right. Well, I'm going to follow that thing.
With your exceptional success, I'll say that you have a. I'll say that you're raring to go. You your fight or flight, I don't know, not fight or flight, but like your sort of instincts are all sort of awakened, like you're ready to go into action like now, and the buzzer goes off and you almost have a head start with how quickly you can react. So if you
Cool.
how are you trying to sort of, what approach are you using to follow after it?
John is basically just sprinting after it, just full on, because this is the most fascinating thing he's seen in quite a while. With all this, wood resonance, you kind of get used to it. So this thing is fascinating. So full on, like balls to the wall sprinting, sprinting after it. Just not trying to catch it necessarily, but just like kind of keep it in sight, so he can just look at it some more.
Okay, cool. We'll start a chase, and John has the edge. Let me just quickly pull up. I don't think the Mage book has chase rules, does it?
No, I'm just bringing them up in the core rulebook.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it sounds like you're using athletics for this first chess. So, you have the edge because of your exceptional success. So we'll say that you have, the edge. It will also roll. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna say what's it? Stamina plus athletics.
Okay, I'm going to spend a willpower on that as well.
Cool. Go ahead and roll.
So that's stamina 2 minus 1 for untrained in athletics, plus 3, so that's 4.
Okay,
one
cool.
success.
So you are. We'll just say that you're looking for, or you're racing for 5 successes. All right, so you still have the edge, which means that, yeah, you go again. What does edge actually do? All right, cool. So, what are you doing to continue the chase? Is it still just full-on sprinting? Are you attempting to sort of change your tack as you sort of huff and puff and move your legs, trying to sort of duck and weave down this alley, following this creature?
I'm going to be. I think I'm going to kind of be sort of looking out for, because John knows a little bit about animals in general, and is going to kind of be looking out for, what is this possum creature doing? What is this?
What's it gonna do next, or where's it
Yeah,
probably?
and just kind of trying to read it a bit. So I want to say like wits an animal can, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Okay, that's 1 success again.
Okay. Actually, I'll do. Okay, cool. You're neck and neck with this thing. You're still sort of, You anticipate where it might go. It probably might want to try to dive underneath those boxes, or it's probably going to attempt to like escape through that alley that way. And you manage to sort of almost cut it off at certain points. You see the shoe again in its mouth as it turns away other than you did on some occasions, but you're keeping up.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do I also see like John running after the shoe?
Yeah, you probably like at the same time as you see the
Yeah.
shoe run the corner, you see this person just sort of plodding after it.
Okay.
Or sprinting.
All right.
What do you do? Or how does Dalian sort of react to that? Are you going to try to follow after? Do you just sort of
Dalian,
notice?
as soon as he saw the shoe, Dalian was already giving chase.
Okay. You're a bit slower on the draw. I'm gonna just say because
Mhm.
of the exceptional, but you'll be following along. You can follow John if nothing else.
Sure.
All right. So next roll. What's your approach for this round?
I think gonna try and kind of corral it a little bit, and just kind of try and use the terrain a little bit to get in front of it and sort of cut it off. So I don't know, maybe like dexterity and survival. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Urban survival, yeah, sure. Corralling sounds perfectly fine. Go ahead and roll.
I'm gonna spend some willpower on this one as well, I think.
Oh,
Ooh.
2 successes. You're very close. Closer than it. So you do manage to gain progress on it by sort of trying to cut it off. Maybe you lead it down some. You try to corral it towards somewhere where you saw that there was stacked boxes that might impede its progress, and then it turns around and has to go a different way. You're gaining on it. You're sort of seeing its back more consistently. So I'll say you still have the edge.
Cool. I think with the last one, just gonna like try and close the gap and grab it. So like a strength brawl.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Shit.
Okay. It manages to dart out of your arms and sort of wriggle its way along with its sort of cargo and start trying to climb up onto a roof. We will say that the edge shifts over to the possum, which is presently it is only at 4. Yeah, it's at 3 successes. Yeah, at this point, it is trying to sort of run across the rooftops. They're not particularly high rooftops. The buildings aren't more than a story generally in Antigua. So the dice pool is, we'll say, dexterity plus athletics.
Okay. I'm gonna spend some willpower on that as well, I think.
Sounds good. Okay, well, actually, did he hit 5? I think that's 4, actually. Yeah, that's just 4. So he hits 4, and then you hit 5 successes, which is the necessary. So we'll say that as it tries to like scramble up a particularly sort of steep chimney pipe to climb across a rope, you just reach up and grab it off of the rope stretching between the houses, and
Sick.
the sort of vibration of the rope like going up and down draws a few eyes up who like look up at you on this roof holding a possum, and people are looking at you incredulously, but you have it, and it's got a shoe.
John is kind of holding it very, tightly, and
Yeah. And it's
is
wrinkling.
really like jubilant, and kind of, haha, yes. Oh, what do I do with it? Does it still have the shoe?
It's still got the shoe in its mouth. It's not letting go of it. It's making angry noises as much as it can without opening its mouth. And Dalian, you probably come around a corner and you see this guy holding aloft an opossum on top of some person's house.
Dalian looks for just a moment disappointed. It's just a possum, but still, like,
And it's holding a shoe.
possum, yeah, but still the possum should have be able, unless the possum can teleport. So you regain interest really quickly, and he just looks at the guy on top of on the roof, and
Okay.
at the possum say, "Well, you should probably get down from here."
It wasn't me. It was the possum.
Okay, and at this point, the possum gives one particularly vigorous wriggle, and you hear the tenor of its squeaking change to something more piercing, and piercing in a way that you haven't heard anything before, and suddenly it's gone from your hands, along with its shoe. And both of your passive mage sights go off. As the people who are standing in the street looking up at you also notice the possum suddenly vanish, and they're, suddenly shocked and like wondering, like, oh, where did this guy put the possum? Where'd it go?
Where's the possum? Tell us.
Where's the possum gone? Yeah. I think what I was about to do was cast Speak with Beasts, and try and talk to the possum.
Speak with possum.
Speak with possum, yeah. Can I still? Is that something worth doing, or?
Hey, come back! Where'd
Yeah,
you go?
Just kind of yelling in possum.
You can certainly attempt to, or rather, you can certainly do that and start calling for the possum. Whether the possum will hear you, you don't know where it is, but you could hope that it's still somewhere in earshot.
Yeah, Dalian is gonna look around for the possum, because as I remember, there was a lot of his mage side pinged a lot, and the possum didn't really seem to teleport all the way up, so he's still realizing that it can't disappear and reappear from too great of a distance. So he's gonna search for the possum.
Right. Sure.
And
give me a perception check. -1 for
gonna spend a willpower.
the smallness of your quarry.
Spending willpower.
Oh dear.
I didn't see the results.
Cool.
Oh no, I see.
Okay, well, you see the possum after, so to your sharp eagle eyes, like as soon as the possum's gone, you start looking around, and you see it like appear on top of appear like just in the air between two buildings and fall flat on its back and start like wriggling around a bit, trying to regain its footing, getting tangled up in the shoe. It's relatively nearby.
Dalian's going to try to approach gently and just put the possum try to gently put the possum on his paws, and he's been working all day around food and drink, so he's probably had a few crumbs or things like that. But it's gonna just gently try to tempt the possum to stay with some food.
Okay, cool. Give me a
Can I try manipulation?
presence plus. So you're trying to soothe
I'm
it
trying
and
to
use your
force, yeah.
common presence, which
Yeah.
I think is presence.
I mean, presence manipulation is also, trying to. I'm trying to finesse this, not to try to force the possum to do something.
Okay, yeah, sure. Give me
If
manipulation
that
plus
makes
animal
sense.
ken.
Yeah.
Your food will give you a +1.
All right.
Well, actually, your food, yeah. Oh. No, that's fine. I was just dithering on
Holy.
whether to make this a contested or penalty to sort of deal.
Holy moly.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, the possum is intrigued. You offer the food. The possum smells it, and is looking at the food. Is looking at you. Is looking at Shu. Back at the food. Back at you, and it takes a long time for it to warm up to you. You're sitting there, holding out the food for minutes, just straight minutes before the possum finally drops the shoe and then cautiously goes up and tries to quickly reach out and snatch the food.
Yeah.
Okay, it takes the food. It chews it very rapidly. Yeah. It very quickly just sort of swallows it, and then it looks like it's going to go back and grab the shoe and possibly run, based on sort of your understanding of its body language. What do you do?
I'm gonna put another piece of food and just try to observe it with my mage sight and try to say, to soothe him and just try to follow him gently, making sure I'm not a threat, but also making sure I don't lose him, trying to gain a bit of trust.
Are you trying to keep it here, or are you trying to just follow it?
To accept him, that I can, to have him accept that to follow.
Okay. I'm not gonna make you roll another animal, Ken. It's, you give it another piece of food and it's happy enough with you, and it starts sort of scurrying off, but it's not sort of breakneck running. And this takes quite a while, so John would sort of see this spectacle, presumably after he, or see the entirety of the spectacle as he, gets up off the roof, presumably.
Yeah, he's definitely just kind of letting Dalian kind of clearly handle the situation.
Okay. Were you still going to try to speak with the creature?
Yeah, I'd like to. Shall I roll for the spell, or is this a sort of a low stakes situation now?
Yeah, go ahead and give me Gnosis plus life.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, could I? Because sorry to just go back and change it, but could I reach for sort of for scale and cast it on Dalian as well?
Advanced skill. Yeah, sure. Would you have had enough free reach for that?
Oh no, I'd have had one for instant, and I'd be one over.
Okay. Are you gonna would you have mitigated that paradox with any mana
I think I
or
would have
anything?
just released it. I would have just released it. I
Yeah,
think.
you probably don't know any better. Cool. So I'm rolling
Ooh.
one paradox die.
So does paradox appear in mage sight?
Does paradox?
Like I think it appears that's fucking up in the Imago, right?
Yeah. Okay, but yeah,
You'd
so no
probably
paradox.
feel it in your passive, yeah.
No paradox. But so presumably you walk up and sort of touch this random stranger who is handing out sort of food to a possum.
John kind of can see that Dalian is sort of taking control of the situation and clearly, is a bit more clued in than other people. And also doesn't want to be the one kind of holding the bag with the possum because clearly it's in trouble. So just kind of, proffers a hand and is like, let's just give me a second here. And then sort of starts speaking to the possum and it's kind of saying, hello.
Let me get myself into possum headspace. So you start squeaking, you start speaking this possum's language, and the possum's language, sort of, the squeaks it's making become audible to you. It seems to be just squeaking over and over again.
Sorry.
Sort of about smells like leather smell, biscuit smell, coin smell, felt smell. Just on and on about sort of fun like the fun, lovely smells of the things that it has, the things it's acquired. Speak of beasts. But yeah, so when you say hello, it looks up at you, sort of shocked and surprised, and wants to know, who are you? You smell funny. What are you? Why do you smell?
And John says, John's eyes kind of light up at that, and John says that, well, I smell for the same reason that you do. I smell because I want to smell all the wonderful things. What have you been smelling recently?
Um, after after the fruit, all the things that are inside the houses. So I'm not going to try to speak first person as a possum, but it tells you that it's been eating strange and wonderful fruit lately. So many new fruits, fruits that it had never seen before. Before it was trapped on that horrid wooden trapped in that horrid wooden beast.
Okay. And yeah, John is going to kind of be like, I've been trapped on some horrid wooden beasts as well, and you just the smell, it just gets so boring after a while. You can't go anywhere and smell anything new. Where were these fruits that you smelled? I'd love to try and smell them as well.
Give me a manipulation and either animal ken or persuasion.
Now, I do also have the sympathetic merit, which means that's normally for social maneuvering, but it means that I can take away 2 of their doors if I take a condition.
Yeah, okay. This isn't social maneuvering, it's not a long-term deal. You're just trying to, chat up this possum. But I will say that you can take a condition and negate the penalties I was about to tell you would have. Which would have been a -2.
I think maybe like the guilty condition, just for like, I'm fraternizing with a criminal here.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good to me.
Just broke out of shadow prison.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and roll then. As the
Okay,
possum
second
finds
spin
you very
manipulation,
sympathetic.
Persuasion.
Yep.
I'm gonna fucking spend a willpower. Oh no.
Oh dear. Would you like to make that an exceptional failure or dramatic failure?
No, I don't think I will.
Okay. It tells you. Yeah. So it tells you that it found the fruits. The fruits are mine. Or rather, the fruits are ours. We know. We've eaten much of the fruits, and we'll continue to eat the fruits, and we're not going to share. And this shoe's mine too. I got it, fair and square.
Hard for the shoe.
Yeah, like John isn't. I don't think John really got a lot of context. I mean, it clearly is a stolen shoe, and it belongs to a fancy person, probably the governor. But John isn't super interested in the shoe. I think it's going to kind of like look to Dalian as sort of, are you getting all this? Like,
Yeah.
did that work?
Dalian, you are getting all of this. In fact, you were hearing the possum, squeaking suspiciously, and now all of a sudden you hear it speak.
So Dalian looks a tiny bit faint and say, yes. And he's going to turn to the person and say, can you tell me how do you flee from one place to another? How do you do that?
Oh, asking the possum.
Yeah. How did you just disappear and reappear?
It probably tells you that it can do it now thanks to the fruit. Ever since it ate the fruit, it's been able to get places it couldn't get before, move so much quicker, get so much more food for its pups.
Can I see the fruit? I could give you more biscuits to you and your pups.
Go ahead. Sure, go ahead and give me a manipulation plus, or yeah, give me a manipulation plus persuasion roll -3 because
Spend a will.
yeah, sure. Because John has already asked about the fruit and been unsuccessful.
Yes. Fruit are not for humans.
Okay.
I mean, he can't see the fruit, but I can.
So you offer it more food. That's good and great. It likes your food. Your biscuits taste good. So the possum thinks a little bit, and it tells you, it tells you, no, it won't show you the fruit, but it does let slip that, no, I found it. I went into the big tall forest, and I found it myself next to the spring, and it's mine, fair and square. But it probably slips more details than it otherwise would as it's chatting or as you're plying it with biscuits.
I'm giving him a biscuit still, and say, okay. Can you tell me where the big forest is so I can get myself a fruit?
It's there everywhere. So much forest. And at this point, it turns and looks at the edge of the jungle looming up beyond the fields of sugarcane.
Thank you.
And at this point, it probably grabs its shoe.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Then I'm just gonna say, did you also grab a small bag that smelled like leather?
Uh, no, 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 no. One of the pups.
Ah, okay. Well, here, I have a last biscuit for your pups.
Oh, it's very happy about that. Probably shoves it in a pouch and like it's marsupial pouch, and then off it goes
Yeah.
with the shoe, unless anyone stops it.
No, if you want it fair and square.
Yeah, John is going to kind of, again, kind of seeing that Dalian is handling this is kind of going along with that and letting it go as well.
Okay, so now you two find yourselves sort of in the middle of the street. You look up, the possum is gone, and turning around, you see several people sort of watching you who have been sitting there, or who have been standing there watching you sit or kneel and squeak at a possum for, at least 5 minutes straight. And they look shocked and surprised, but something more than that. Like their eyes are almost like glazed over, and their faces are seemingly, contorted in what looks like severe discomfort. Um, what do you do?
Oh no! Oh dear!
Like what? What you were talking at it, and it was understanding what that
Oh,
possums don't
did they
speak.
also get in the
Do they also get the what?
the spell? Were they also included the spell?
No, I think Dalian or
No,
Dalian
it was
specifically just
just
cast
me
it
and
on you.
Dalian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dalian's going to look very embarrassed and and very uncomfortable, and begin to try to slide away like nothing happened.
He certainly can. The people who are gathered don't seem to stop him. In fact, they barely seem to take notice of him at all right now. They seem to be just sort of standing there looking as if they're. It's a combination of smelling something particularly unpleasant and feeling sharp pain.
John is going to give them a really close look with Mage Sight. Maybe even scrutiny.
Okay. With both spirit and life.
Yeah.
So spirit doesn't tell you very much. The resonances are, standard what you see on people and kind of funny. But with life, you can see that they're experiencing sort of disabling tilts at this point. Like something is deeply wrong with them. Something about witnessing this sight, witnessing what you have done and been doing, making them, uh, is causing them incredible pain. And I think maybe at this point, this is when John realizes that their condition, their pain is because of what he did.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm seeing that now.
so let's see the Hubis. Yeah, allowing a sleeper to witness obvious magic is a act of hubris against understanding wisdom. Normally, sort of an unveiling spell wouldn't be sort of obvious. It just gives you more information. But talking with animals is certainly something people don't do. So go ahead and roll 3 dice for me.
Now I have a virtue of certainty. So would that be because the spell was to be certain about what was going on and to sort of act decisively to find out. Would that allow for a +1 to that?
Let's see. Can add a dice to the pool if the act embodied Hubris, but in defense. Sure. Go ahead and roll 4 dice.
All right, success.
Nice. So success. Your character is able to examine and understand the ramifications of her actions. She doesn't lose wisdom. But you do still gain an arcane beat from plumbing the depths of hubris. But yeah, so as you continue to watch and look at these people, you can see that like something gnarly is happening to them. Like this is beyond any, sickness or, shipboard illness or physical injury that you've ever seen before, as sort of their patterns stand out to you as almost roiling with something wrong. And the experience is probably
Right.
also quite enlightening, so you can take an arcane beat from that.
Hey.
Okay, back to the other folks who are in the square. You witness the governor get increasingly incensed as it becomes abundantly clear that no one has seen any, rapscallion making off with his purse. He's probably sort of had everyone around him search. No one's had his purse. No one can find his shoe, and he's probably quite drunk. So at this point, he's probably not particularly comprehensible. What
That's a
do?
good combination.
Yeah, what do Pascal and Kessen do?
I'm
I
actually
feel like
trying
this
to.
is a
Yeah.
I feel like this is a bit of a problem out of character because we've already divided the group into 2 groups, which have no awareness of each other, really, and no idea like how it's going to tie up. So I don't want to say but logically for me, Kessin would, unless there is something new happening magically, they'd probably be going back to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Pascal is actually going to turn an angle and try to go intercept Kessen, because Kessen clearly knows something out of the ordinary as well by the conversation earlier.
Okay. Yeah. Newly informed with your understanding of whatever it is happened around this man's purse and affix and shoe. Also, Pascal can take an arcane beat from that.
All right.
But yeah, so you've spent a while just sort of staring. The spectacle has been amusing, but it's gotten a little bit old. So Kessin's companions are happy to sort of wrap up and turn back to the ship with him. And probably as Kessin is sort of saying this rejoining his companions and saying, "Hey, let's go back to the Rose." Pascal catches up with you.
Yeah, so Pascal is just gonna what would Pascal's just gonna kind of try to cut in front, I suppose,
Okay.
and basically say
That might be a problem if you try to make it sound like you're going to accost us. To be
yeah, well,
blunt.
he's not he's a pretty direct person. He's gonna try to not seem overtly
Okay.
unfriendly, but he is going to get in the way and kind of be like, whoa, you're just gonna head out.
At this point, his 2 companions probably sort of walk forward and are between you and Kessin at this point. They've seen you together, but they don't know who you are. It's like, ooh, who are you, buddy?
I'm Pascal. He's gonna spread his hands to the side, not threateningly, I don't have a weapon. Um, just wanted to continue my discussion from earlier. With your friend here.
They probably sort of look back at you like, who is this? Like, what's this guy's deal? What do you want to do?
Manipulation subterfuge. Would be a good lie here. Oh yeah, we were just talking about um a better path to chart between the southern archipelago. One which should make our time far shorter, and that means we can intercept those shipments far easier. And do I get a bonus for that?
Um, yeah, sure. I'll take a +1. And so +1, -2, just for their sort of natural desire to get back to the ship. And
Okay.
it won't be contested.
In that case, I will spend willpower as well. Okay.
Almost exceptional. Yeah, so, they're not happy about being accosted and intercepted, and they're still sort of rankled. They have, weapons that hands were clearly reaching towards. But as sort of they're getting jostled by the crowd that are moving closer to watch the governor's sort of histrionics, they make room for you to, continue your discussion. And you're
Yeah.
probably able to find sort of a more quiet spot.
I thought you were going to wait until later, a little bit more quiet to talk about things. I know that you saw something, but everyone's on edge, and with what happened to the governor, whatever happened to the governor, who's going to want to keep away from the market and everything going on now? Having said all that, what did you see?
Something took something, right? It didn't just, disappear on its own, but something reached out and actually grabbed it.
Grabbed it.
Moved it from
Once
one place to
the
another.
shoe, though.
Well, not just the shoe, the person, all that too, It wasn't just random.
Well, what are you going to do next then?
Well, go to look for it, I suppose. Who knows if it'll appear again?
Maybe.
It might have something to do with your, gestures to the sketchbook. Whatever you're looking for, too.
The secret spice and herbs for the ultimate fried chicken. This is the origin story of KFC. So I kind of think there's going to be throwing heads here. Those tails. Wait, I can't tell if one or two heads or tails. Yeah, I will say that. I think this is going to be a case of whether Kessen was to risk causing a stir. Okay, I can't decide whether this is going to be courageous or curious. Probably more curious, as far as going to their advice here. But they're going to lie again. Well, actually, no. What does it look like the crewmates are doing? Are they waiting? Are they heading on, etc.?
Yeah, they look like they're just sort of impatiently waiting. They're looking at you all the while, but sort of just outside of earshot of quiet speaking, especially over sort of they're not too far, especially because the din of the noise means that earshot isn't actually that far. Or of the crowd, rather.
Okay, I'm going to say to names. Pascal here to 1 second. And I'll address my crewmates. I just forgot I left something. I gotta go back, but you can head on without me. I'll head to the fuck, what's the name again? The Privateer's Rose. Once I've got it.
Okay.
So I am lying through my teeth.
Yeah, go ahead and roll of manipulation plus subterfuge.
Okay. This is the time when I do not spend willpower. Don't need it. Or do I need it?
Okay. Yeah, they believe that you did leave something, but they seem to be very recalcitrant to leave you alone. So they're walking away pretty slowly.
I wave.
Eventually you stop sort of seeing, or they're not in the sort of mouth of the alley that you've walked down anymore. But
Okay, let's go.
both of you, yeah, sure. Where are you going?
Very good
I don't
question.
know, Pascal. Where do you want to? Where are you going? You're the one who saw someone grab.
I'm gonna look around. I didn't see something grab. I just knew that something reached out and took. So I guess I'll just start
reached out
like
and took it. If you didn't see it, take it.
I'll look around for any like Is there any clues that I would be able to get like direction wise? Like, can I spot anything?
Okay. Do you still have your active mage sight up?
I probably turned it like off after the portmaster or whatever caught my attention. But I could throw up like just space again now that I know that it's space. Pascal will probably just like flicker on space, look about.
Yeah, cool. Sure. Um, two. Yeah, sorry. Okay, cool. Yeah, you flick back on your site, and you go searching. Give me a wits plus composure roll. You're specifically looking for sort of more signs of space related things, I assume.
Yep. Any more like clues on the actual direction of it as opposed to what happened? Where is it now?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Do I
Give me
add
a
a penalty?
yeah, perception check at so this is a magic related thing. You are looking for signs of, quote unquote magic.
Mhm.
So I'll just give it a -1 penalty for sort of the nature of the thing you're looking for. Um
2 successes.
okay, cool. You see down an alley a certain way towards the sort of carpentry shops and the shipwright's workshop. You see another one of those shattered fragments sort of poking out of the tapestry of shards, and a corresponding one on the other side of the street.
Pascal's gonna wave his companion and go like, "Oh, this way, come on," and just
Okay,
set off at like a brisk pace.
cool. Kessin, give me a perception check.
Oh, sorry. Does this apply to my trained observer?
That's for
I got my
like
8 again. No, it's a perception. It's a perception roll. It's not to
Okay.
investigation.
Yep.
But it's
Yes.
trained observer. Okay. I will do my 8 again.
Okay. As you start heading down the alley, Kessin, probably looking over his shoulder at one point nonchalantly, notices that his companions are following, doing a quite poor job of disguising their shadowing.
Typical. They never leave me alone for 10 seconds.
They're some distance away, but they are attempting to tail you.
What was that? Did you say something? Pascal's very, very concentrating on, wizard eye focusing.
So,
Give me a moment, and I will. Can I duck into just an alcove in one of the alleyways? And I want to cast Mutable Mask, and I'm just going to what should this be? Change subject appearance, parent sex, voice, smell, etc. Yeah, I'm going to. You know what? I'm going. Because I have the same clothes still. Can it change clothes? Is the question.
No, mutable
No.
mask cannot change clothes.
no
Just take your jacket
clothesies.
off.
Solution is to get naked. Obviously.
No, I would definitely turn my jacket inside out and take hat off probably and change hair color, that kind of thing. Just enough whereby like from a distance you can tell that's not the same person.
Okay. Roll me
So-
Gnosis plus. So you're
Yep, I
trying to
have
give us
myself
some.
prepared.
Cool.
Duration. Wait, how long do I want it for? I want it for like more than a scene. I want it for a scene, yeah. Feed duration 1 day. I can do it for 1 day. There we go. I'm using no reaches. I don't have any paradox.
I mean, you're casting it instantly, presumably, instead of over 3 hours.
Yep. Oh
Uh,
yeah. Wait a second.
And you're trying to put it for on the advanced duration track. It sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that'd be 1 paradox. I spoke too soon.
Okay.
I will also burn willpower because I have no goddamn. Oh, I miss having a goddamn Yantu and shit. Dick is a magical tool. I love those.
They're handy. All right, this is 1 paradox. Are
I mean,
you releasing it, or are you going to try to
the-
contain it?
I mean, I think we're establishing that we're such fucking scrubs that we release paradox
Yeah,
just
and you
by
know,
default.
when you had the Numa in your pattern, you had infinite reaches. When you're casting with Numa, so you've probably not had to deal during that big burst of power with paradox at all. Okay, so
Okay, spend willpower to do this. Oh, I was about to put will paradox.
okay. Well, no
Was it
paradox,
okay?
so you're fine.
Yeah, good. That's what we like to see.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It will paradox again. It will paradox again.
Yeah.
No, it's the ST rolled for it, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I will refrain from rolling next time since you're using the actual spell,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, cool. So,
Okay.
your spell goes off.
But
You
I
change
tried it
your
twice.
appearance to, your hair color.
Mm-hmm.
And Pascal, you witness your erstwhile companion just step into an alley. You're presumably sort of standing around waiting, looking around for more signs of shards, and then suddenly you see a totally different person with
Yeah, now I'm
your-
ginger, and that's the change. I'm now got bright red hair. It's like so. Come on, let's keep going. don't question it, okay?
Sure, that's a trick. And then he's just gonna, I guess, try to take it in stride.
I like this guy.
Like,
Okay.
now having to be like, oh, I guess, different kinds of wizards then, sure.
Yeah, you make your way off. Then apparently very accepting of strange people stepping out where your companion had been. And I'm not going to make you roll. You follow sort of the trail of broken, weird space effects that you've seen before, and eventually you find yourselves standing near to a small crowd of people who look to not be doing so great, in terms of their facial expressions and the sheer pain they're expressing. But you do see 2 folks quickly scurrying away from this crowd.
Do you think these people saw a shoe?
Why would they look so in pain then?
Serious question though. Can I roll I think would it be no? It'd be wits and empathy. If I could determine, like, do I feel like these people are just like mentally shocked, or do you think something has happened to them?
How are you going about determining this? Just observing them?
I'm just watching. I'm not using the bonus, but I'm arguing that once again because that kind of natural philosopher angle, trained observer. I'm not a psychologist, but I have wits and I have empathy, and I'm just kind of like taking a moment to like see if I can determine, like, are
Pascal
they like
also has Mage sight up.
Mhm.
yeah.
I'd like to
But
maybe ask
I'm also
his bonus
wondering
as well.
if I feel like these people are terrified, if they are angry, if they are like kind of in a daze. Because I wouldn't really have experienced anything of the effects of like paradox and what it does on non-magical people, of course. Like
Okay, yeah, cool. So that is true. You do have Mage Sight up, Pascal, or yeah, Pascal does have Mage Sight up. Did you add mine into it? Remind me.
This time just space.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So go ahead and roll your. Yep. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
what do I know about the effects of paradox on these people?
Nice.
So you can
Or
tell
what the
that.
constators?
So you haven't dealt with. So this isn't paradox. You haven't dealt with. Actually, that's a good question. Has Helge inflicted dissonance or inflicted quiescence on any of his crewmates or experienced dissonance on his spells from them before?
I think the way that I've built Helge and the way that I tend to think of Helge is that they are remarkably good at. I mean, by consequence of who they are and what they've had to do before awakening, like they are very good at hiding themselves and kind of the way I feel is they are very well practiced in not letting people know about certain things and presenting a certain version of things. And because of that, I feel like they would have been very careful as the moment they got these new powers that they are in fact discreet about it. As wasn't just shown by them going like and just being like, I'm gonna pretend to someone else now. Like that's a
Okay,
useful thing to do.
cool. I have to run to the restroom real quickly. I'll be back in a sec, and then I'll address that. Meanwhile, the rest of you think about whether the NPCs in your characters' lives have been hit with the big old Q by your characters before.
I want to clarify. I didn't say that no one has been hit with a Q, but I feel like Kessin would have been very careful, and whether they have or not, they've probably not noticed if they have, because it generally was like something which was
Yeah.
a mistake.
Mm.
Maybe one time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think with something like, you know, spirit and life, there's you've got to be deliberately doing something pretty out there to kind of provoke it as well.
Spirit of Life is very easy. At least at this level, it's still easy to inflict quiescence. It's a bit harder with
Oh,
fate
sure.
and time at the level I am.
But it's like you wouldn't be doing you'd have to be doing something that you know is pretty out there.
Oh yeah.
So if you're someone who is like, not sure about this magic stuff,
Yeah.
don't know if other people will react well to this, then you're not going to like accidentally just, whereas if you're fucking around with space or something and you
Yeah.
travel through a doorway or something without opening it, then whoa, someone might actually see that.
I'm just imagining now that John has created like an unnaturally perfect bit of like carpentry. It's just
Yeah, but they're
That's
used
just-
to that. John's got 4 dots in crafts. Like John is an
Yeah.
extremely good carpenter.
It's like this is the kind of carpentry that Jesus of Nazareth was making. It's like
Yeah.
I've definitely probably never seen anyone experience quiescence. I probably inflicted it by accident though, while testing out space stuff. Like just like, go down to the dock at like, late at night and just be like, oh, no one can see me, right? And then there's like, a few people.
Yeah, you've probably made a couple of banishes.
That's how the Philadelphia experiment happened. Went down to the dock, had a bit of a few experiments. It's fine. A boat disappeared, reappeared.
Suddenly deleting doors and whatnot. Just in good
Hello,
fun.
back. Sorry about that.
Hey,
Okay, cool. So, as far as what you understand, we've established that Kessin hasn't inflict personally quiescence on his
not that I'm
crewmates in
aware
the
of.
past.
I would say Kessen been very careful. It is possible that maybe
Mhm.
one time it happened, but they maybe wouldn't be aware of it because they've been that
Okay.
careful.
But or they haven't seen this before. So these people are in pain, like deep, deep pain, and it goes beyond mere psychological distress. It goes beyond mere panic attacks. It goes beyond mere physical discomfort. It's something sort of profoundly outside of anything that Kessin has experienced or seen others experience before. Um,
Hmm.
for conditions, just go ahead and take a beat. I don't know that I have one.
Actually, I was going to argue.
Mhm.
Could I, since I got a exception like that, could I get some willpower, and could I also take an arcane beat because it's related to me figuring out like what are the effects of like I realize this is something which is magical related.
Yeah, sure.
This is my first time witnessing the effects of quiescence.
Yep, sure. So from the exceptional, go ahead,
Okay.
gain a willpower.
Yep.
Take an arcane beat. From
Done.
quiescence, and why don't you? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. With Space Mage Sight, you don't really see anything too out of the ordinary sort of popping out from these people. They seem obviously very disturbed, but nothing, space related is occurring to them.
I'm actually going to like kind of step forward and I'll keep the mage sight on, but Pascal's gonna try to like see what's wrong with these people and kind of just turn to Kessin and say, well, like I've got to deal with this, like you can chase down the others if you want, but
Mhm.
hold on a sec, right?
So as far as speaking of the others,
What others? That's the question. We don't really know there's any others.
We saw two, right? When we came here, we
yeah.
saw a bunch of people and
So
we saw two people flee.
Dalian said that they slinked off. Is John still there? Because he was also scrutinizing these people.
Dalian?
Yeah. Go ahead, Emerick.
No, sorry. If Dalian's Dalian was currently trying to hide and not get noticed, and as soon as he saw that people weren't really noticing, that he would have also looked closely at them to see if there's anything that was wrong with them and try to maybe talk to some of them to try to get like, are you okay? Do you need a biscuit? Do you need water? Anything?
Biscuits.
Yeah, sure. Maybe accidentally still squeaking at them.
Nah,
Because the
no. He
spell's
was
still up.
talking. He was
Uh,
talking normally to the possum. I think you can. You don't have to
no.
talk in animal speech.
No, you can speak normally, but John was definitely squeaking.
No, Dalian was speaking normally.
Um, so it was an unveiling spell, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So you speak at them. You try to ask them like, "What's wrong? What's up? What do you need?" But they don't seem to be responsive to you at all. You ask them, "Hey, what did you see?" And some of them are mumbling nonsensical things like, "Boss, there was shoe. There's no. It couldn't have been a possum. Possums don't talk. No, it was just someone. They were not having a conversation. Perfectly normal. No, there was a possum, and every time like anything that reminds them of the possum sort of comes up in their mumbling, there's just bit of pain, almost as if the memory of seeing what happened here is painful to them.
Then he's gonna try to say, listen, I think the governor is asking for people to gather, and he's trying badly to take their mind out of this because he sees that they're
Mhm.
Pascal's
strong of
gonna
it.
Are you
gonna
trying to
split-
like shepherd them away, or
Yeah, something like just
If,
get them out of a stupor by.
okay?
noticing that Emmerick's kind of
Yeah,
you
so
know,
this is
handling
sort
it a
of
bit
what you
awkwardly.
saw them doing as you two, Pascal and Kessin, arrived. Then I guess before you made
Pascal's
sort of
going
your
to try
initial
to, I
looks.
guess, take charge at like the shepherding because he hates seeing these people clearly distressed and in pain.
Yeah.
So just try to
Dalian,
like
if you see
snap
that
them out
someone
of
else
shock.
taking. Sorry, if you see that someone else is taking the lead, he's gonna let them.
Yeah, Pascal's just gonna try to like focus, I guess, like talk them out of it or talk them through it, like you would with people in shock.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like they're not in a state to resist anything that you do. If you tell them to, go that way towards the square, they just sort of stumble off, almost eager to get away from this place.
Yeah, Pascal's
What
gonna
happened
just
to
like, I
them?
guess,
I'm
go with
gonna
at least a little
I'm gonna
ways.
poke it. I'm gonna ask Darren. What happened to them? What is this possum they speak of?
Dan is gonna look up and down at the two others, and then to John and say, well, there was this. Let's just say possum stole the shoe with the governor. It was a
A
possum.
possum stole the shoe.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, John has kind of been hanging back, feeling still a little guilty. In fact, maybe I could resolve that condition. Anybody know what the guilty condition does? I can't remember.
Let's see.
Guilty.
It does.
Your character is experiencing deep-seated feelings of guilt and remorse. The condition is commonly applied after a successful blah blah blah. While the character is under the effect of this condition, he gets a -2 to any resolve or composure rolls to defend against subterfuge, empathy, or intimidation rolls. Resolution: the character confesses his crimes and makes restitution for whatever he did. Yeah. Or I know. I
Okay.
guess it goes off and you fail a
confess your
roll because
crimes.
of it.
Confess your crimes, John Warwick. Confess.
Yeah.
John is actually gonna kind of feels like a sudden turn to oh no, hang on, I'm just a normal person. This wasn't me. No, everything is fine here.
It was a possum.
Dalian knows what's going on. Just Dalian. I mean, John doesn't know Dalian's name, but Dalian's just like John is just like this guy here gesturing at Dalian clearly knows what they're talking about. Is going to try and sort of lie to all of them just to say no, I'm nothing to do with this.
Okay. So, I don't want to go through the rigmarole of having all of you, roll empathy and you roll subterfuge. Do you do a good job of lying, or is it a terrible job of lying?
You're only saying
Given
that because Kessin would
I got
win.
2 dice, so I'm definitely not.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So if you're saying that, yeah, he does a terrible job of lying, you all can pretty clearly tell that this guy's, nervous and he's knows more than is going on, or knows more than he's badly attempting to let on. And you probably can sort of, obviously intuit that it has something to do with whatever happened to these people.
Can I focus more like on trying to help the people besides asking questions as part of my like vice? Would that count as because
What's
my
your
vice, I
vice?
suppose, kindness.
Um,
So like I'm
so
gonna say like
so like instead of figuring
yeah,
out the root cause, you're actually you're just really too focused on these people who are
yeah,
clearly
I'm gonna get
broken.
like I'm gonna get like distracted off the path and kind of just be like, well, I guess we'll have to chase it later, ask questions later. These people are hurt. I gotta help them now,
Okay, yeah. So at this point, it's just Kessin poking at John, and he.
Tell me more about this possum. Oh, I would also do introductions, of course, as well. I'm quite this again. This is a very civilized part of the world. I'm going to just make introductions, and then make it quite clear that I want answers. What did you see?
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. John is obviously kind of giving way to this more forceful personality, and yeah, it's gonna kind of explain that there was a possum. It stole the governor's shoe, and it was telling this guy here, pointing at Dalian, um, about some fruits that it had in the forest, and is just kind of listening to himself and sort of kind of waiting for everyone to burst out laughing in his face, and for the punishment to come around.
Now, to me, does it sound like? Well, it sounds a lot like some kind of fruit of good and evil or something which created an effect in this possum, awakened it even. Is that fair to say?
Your guess is as good as mine. I was gonna go.
Oh, sorry.
Try and
I
find
was specifically directing that towards Storyteller.
Oh, okay. Yeah, something. Yeah, you might interpret this as evil, like something wrong. Like something is wrong with these people, and for a certain disposition, it would be sort of a natural step to interpret it as, evil because of how wrong it is.
No, no. To be clear, I'm alluding more towards the fable of Adam and Eve, etc. But the idea being that I haven't been told about this possum and it eating fruit, which sounds like, to me, does it sound like this has had an effect upon otherwise natural fauna?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
unaffected fauna?
So you know about possums, you know that they are
Mhm.
native to parts of South America and have moved up into, North America based on reports that you've read sent back from the New World, probably.
Franchising.
Yeah. And it's unusual for them to be here in the islands, but fauna catches ship or catches rides on ships all the time. You have not heard any stories about possums being able to blink through space. So if something caused possums to start being able to blink through space, it certainly was something, since it arrived here, probably.
Okay, then with that, I am going to address. Well, you've been shepherding the people, but I would actually have. I would suggest Dorian to Dalian to stay a while, and I think the four of us should talk. Clearly, we've all seen, heard, felt something strange, something which happened at the same time. And I suspect that the possum was the center of this, or at least connected to this. Clearly, we are able to see these things hear these sins, sense these sins when others can't. I don't understand it. I'm not going to pretend that I understand it yet. What I do know is that we're the only ones here who have notice. And I think it is our duty, in fact, to find out what is going on.
I'm sorry, did you say a possum did that?
Yes, possum and
We'll relate the tale of the possum. Like at this point, like it's a different, it's a slightly different version because then Kessin will talk about it.
Well, one thing that John will point out is that it said that there were other possums that seemed to be stealing things as well.
And
So
I guess Pascal will also relate about how having got a close look at like the governor and the stuff that was stolen, he'll say that it was pretty advanced, like magic. Like none of the people here would be able to do something of that level. So
You actually
that
used the word magic.
well, not magic, but like whatever it was like I don't know, a strong effect. I mean, you like mages know it's magic, right? But would they call it magic?
I mean, it's
Unfortunately.
also fair to say that with this time and era, people will be more like superstitious as well. But also, again,
Well, you can't do magic by accident.
no.
So like,
But I'm just kind of verifying whether you say that, and it's like,
I think
you said the
Pascal would
thing.
actually be the type to say like just straight up magic,
yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. As a thing that Pascal has done, and I think it's pretty cool for the rest of the. Well, I know John would certainly do that. It sounds like Kessin would as well. Of just kind of going like, oh, I guess it is magic. John was probably thinking it was like kind of working will and sort of making things change. But yeah, magic makes sense, I guess. Hadn't thought of it like that.
Yep. Well, at that we are at 5. So with the 4 mages sort of standing in the street, having said the M word,
What are we,
finally.
some kind of Mage the Awakening,
Yeah.
second edition?
Right. Cool. Thanks for playing and thanks for watching, everyone. I'm gonna end the stream.
Thanks for the
and
game.
We will play again in
you.
2 weeks, and we'll do aspirations and sessions and all that. But I'll end the stream before that because that's boring for the viewers.